Cultural values. Roadmaps for behavior. So far, we've seen that factors such as family, history, religion, and cultural identity influence your decisions on what to think about, what to disregard, and how to act. It might be something as mundane as what to eat for lunch, whether to sit in the front or the back of a large lecture hall, or which movie to see this evening. Alternatively, it can be something more consequential, such as influencing your opinion on gun control, abortion, climate change, or capital punishment. The things you consider important are often products of beliefs and values learned since childhood, and they motivate your behavior. Should race or ethnicity be a consideration for university admissions? Should public prayer be allowed in school? Should religious attire be allowed in the public sphere? The ability to recognize, prepare for, and manage a conflict of cultural values plays a central role in successful intercultural communication exchanges. We will explore how culture shapes perception, the role of beliefs in forming cultural values, how culture inculcates a set of values, and how values differ across the culture. This week, we will explore how culture shapes perception, the role of beliefs in forming cultural values. This week, we will examine different cultural value patterns or dimensions and how those patterns influence communication. Remember, since much of perception is highly subjective and heavily affected by culture, it is not a surprise that many of the meanings we apply to stimuli, even those related to food tastes, are influenced by culture. Perception is selective because you focus only on selected information and filter out the rest. It is learned through life experiences. It is culturally determined because culture teaches you the meaning behind your experiences. It is consistent because it is usually resistant to change, and it is inaccurate because it is subjective. You view the world in a subjective manner based on your values, history, and experiences. As we discuss cultural patterns this week, do remember that it is not set in stone. Note the following as you do your reading and consider cultural patterns. 1. That you are more than your culture. Assigning national characteristics to your group is risky because one culture includes many subcultures. 2. That cultural patterns are integrated. They do not occur in isolation. 3. That they are dynamic. They evolve and produce societal change depending on many factors, such as changing current events or scientific and technological progress. 4. That they can be contradictory in one culture. For example, the U.S. is divided between liberals and conservatives, between the rich and the poor, etc. There are several cultural pattern typologies by various disciplines. The most commonly used ones are Cole's list of values Americans live by. Those include the environment, change, time and its control, equality, individualism and privacy, self-help, competition, future orientation, action and work orientation, informality, directness, efficiency, and materialism. Kluckhohn and Strachbeck classification of value orientation. Those include human nature, the perception of nature, time, activity, and relationships. Hall's categorization of high context and low context orientations. Those are high context and low context that describe the degree to which individuals rely on internalized information. Hofstede's set of value dimensions. Power distance index, individualism versus collectivism, uncertainty, avoidance, masculinity versus femininity, long-term versus short-term orientation, indulgence versus restraint. Minkoff's cultural dimensions. Those are industry, indulgence, monumentalism, flexumity, and exclusion universalism. Geflin's research on tight and loose cultures. Ting Toomey's explanation and application of face and face work. These patterns are used to illustrate the dominant beliefs and values of a culture. As you examine these 7 typologies, please remember that they can be contradictory at times. And so, how do these dominant beliefs and values act out in conflict situations?